The United Nations accuses the Houthis of obstructing relief work in areas under their control. Yemen calls the international community to curb Houthi danger against journalists. Government forces defend Houthi attack on Ma'rib front. Welcome to Yemen Today TV. This is the English news with me, Shazad Delbey. The UN has accused the Houthi rebels of blocking the delivery of humanitarian aid in areas under their control. This report has more details.
A recent report by the United Nations World Food Programme showed that most of the restrictions that hinder aid organizations in Yemen are concentrated in areas controlled by the Houthi militia. The program confirmed that its ability to monitor and evaluate relief aid was reduced by up to 81% because it could not start data collection. By the end of January, World Food Programme had still been unable to start data collection for the annual food security and livelihoods assessment in Houthi areas, as an agreement with authorities was still pending. According to OCHA, most restrictions on the movement of people and goods occur in areas under Houthi control, resulting from restrictions on national staff travel and specific restrictions on the movement of female national staff without the accompaniment of a close male relative. It noted that 87% of World Food Programme Yemen staff are Yemeni nationals. According to the report, WFP monitoring and evaluation activities were significantly curtailed in January following the suspension of the activities of a critical third-party service provider in Houthi areas, in reference to the militias shutting down the company that was providing data to the program. The World Food Programme has other contracted third-party monitoring companies in Yemen. The suspension led to a 67% decline in field monitoring visits compared to December and an 81% decline in outing calls from World Food Programme's beneficiary verification mechanism. The program provided cash assistance to 32,000 women under its cash assistance for nutrition activity. However, this only includes areas under the legitimate government, as World Food Programme had to suspend the movement in the Houthi regions in January pending new approvals by authorities. According to the report, World Food Programme is facing funding shortfalls for multiple activities. In areas under Houthi control, the food cost is now almost the same as at the same time last year. Still, it has increased by 14% in areas under the internationally recognized government of Yemen.
A report issued by the Sana Center for Studies said the prominent leader of Al-Qaeda, Saif al-Adl, who lives in Iran, controls the operations of the organization's branch in Yemen. In addition, the report indicated that he tried to convince Tehran of the need for him to move to Yemen, but this proposal was rejected by Iran Revolutionary Guard officials. The Yemeni government has called on the international community to stop Houthi violations and danger against journalists. This report has more details.
The Houthis have stifled press freedom ever since the beginning of the Yemen civil war, committing a number of violations including suspension of salaries, confiscation of equipment, and issuing death threats. The Yemeni government called on international organizations to take a firmer stance towards the violations committed by the Houthis against journalists and the media in their area of control. 160 journalists, most of whom were subjected to enforced disappearance and torture, including 49 dead and 1,000 displaced. Many media institutions, including broadcast stations, newspapers, news websites, and radio stations, have been looted, while several news websites blocked. Many news outlets have been subjected to threats, confiscation of their equipment, belongings, and suspension of salaries. Besides, many Yemeni journalists have also been sentenced to death, which has been condemned by human rights groups. A UNESCO representative expressed the organization's readiness to provide technical and legal support to journalists and media institutions through targeted training programs and to contribute to building peace. According to Reporters Without Borders, Yemen currently ranks 169th out of 180 countries on the World Press Freedom Index. The war has made Yemen afflicted by poverty, poor sanitation, and rampant malnutrition affecting its population. particularly children. Aid groups have described the situation in Yemen as one of the world's worst humanitarian crises.
A UN team documented more than 1,000 cases of violations against children in Yemen in the first 9 months of last year. UNICEF stated that most of the documented and verified cases of violations were in areas under the control of the Houthi militia.
أبي مات في شارع 40 دحين أنا أشقى على أسرتي مع باقي اللي أنا أصرف عليهم كل شيء. أنا اسمي أنس وصيب سيف عمري 12 سنة. أنا أشتغل بورشة حديد من الساعة 7 للساعة 6. أحيانا أسرع أحيانا أقص أحيانا أرنق أحيانا أنقش أي حاجة أنا أعمل. لا الساعة لما تبدأ الساعة 6 أوقف. أنا وقفت الدراسة عشان ما في أحد يشقى على أسرتي. أدرس أخواني الباقي منهم 4 وأنا الخامس. أحلم إن أفتح ورشة أبي وأشقى على أسرتي وأندي لهم مصاري. وأدرس أخوتي الآخر الجامعات وأطبخ أي شيء.
Government forces announced that they stopped attempts by the Houthi militia in military sites south of Marib, east of Yemen. In addition, violent battles took place in the Eastern Balkan front between the government forces and the Houthi militia, which tried to infiltrate the positions of the army forces after sending military reinforcements. The joint forces stopped infiltration attempts by the Houthi militia west of Taiz. In addition, military media reported that the Houthi militia pushed dozens of its fighters to try to stop them from the direction of Al-Barah area near the contact lines. They confirmed that the units of the joint forces in Al-Barah axis forced the militia members to flee, with direct injuries that resulted in human and material losses. Masan Demining Project announced the destruction of more than 900 mines and unexploded devices which were planted by the Iran-backed Houthi militia. The project confirmed in a statement that the destruction process included mines that the terrorist militia had planted on roads, farms, and water sources. The Japanese government announced a new support of $5 million to fight food insecurity and support agricultural production in Yemen. The Japanese ambassador added that Tokyo is using all its diplomatic efforts in cooperation with the international community to achieve peace and stability in Yemen. Coming next in the news. Yemen Embassy organizes a celebration on National Coffee Day.
Yemen, the worst famine the world has seen in 100 years. Right now, over 8 million people are facing starvation. Since the beginning of the war, 85,000 children have died due to the lack of food. We cannot allow this to continue. The Yemeni people can't wait.
Welcome back. The Yemeni Embassy in Egypt celebrated the Yemeni Coffee Day. Yemen is well known by its coffee cultivation, and Yemeni coffee is considered the best worldwide. This report has more details.
Coffee has been associated with the culture of the Yemeni society, as well as associated with its national identity, as it's not only a Yemeni agriculture crop and product, but also a strategic product linked to Yemen in history and economy.
Today, we are honored together for this occasion, the Yemeni Coffee Day, a day that brings joy back to us. Coffee is originally from Yemen and is known worldwide.
There have been historical periods when coffee in Yemen was neglected, and soon Yemenis discovered that they were slowly losing this mark of history. Therefore, they returned to it to revive this legacy, like their ancestors and the aspirations of the youth. Hence the celebration of the National Day for the cultivation of Yemeni coffee, The event, organized by the Arab Youth Union for Creativity and Innovation and the Yemeni Culture Center, and sponsored by the Yemeni Embassy in Cairo.
Since I proposed to the ambassador to hold this event last year, he's been very interested. I thank him for all the support he provides, and I also thank everyone who participated with us last year and this year as well, especially the Arab Youth Union.
The Arab Youth Union for Creativity and Innovation participates today with our embassy in Cairo and the Yemeni Cultural Center to celebrate this occasion. This occasion, I believe, is universal and all Yemenis in the world celebrate it.
The exhibitions, which were welcomed by a large audience of the community, represented various regional coffee of fame that extend from Razah to Yafa, with different flavors of coffee and its tricolors, light, dark, and medium. The event is the national ties tangled with its Arab identity.
I'm one of the organizers of the Mocha Day. We're glad that the embassy has adopted this event. We would like to hold events regarding Yemeni coffee throughout the year and not for one day, to have a proper promotion for it.
I would like to congratulate the Yemenis on the Mocha holiday. Yemen was famous for growing coffee, and I hope it will return better than before.
Our country is rich in coffee such as Al-Khawalani coffee and is famous all over the world and is exported to many countries. We as students in Cairo are delighted with the occasion, which is in its 5th anniversary.
With sincere efforts, the celebration of the National Day for the cultivation of Yemeni coffee was held.
Stands out for its richness, complexity, and distinctiveness. Coffee cuppers seem to breathe through their very souls with every sip. They appreciate the journey of the seed, dating back to when it was just an idea in the farmer's mind, through to its journey into their cup. There are various forms of preparation, followed with almost ritualistic precision. Yemeni coffee, an endless story of discovery.
A vaccination campaign against polio is being implemented by the Ministry of Public Health and Population. The 3-day campaign aims to vaccinate more than 1 million children under the age of 5 in 120 districts in 12 governorates. This report has more details.
The vaccination campaign against polio has begun all over Yemeni liberated governorates. The Ministry of Health is keen to implement the polio vaccination campaign in more than 12 liberated Yemeni governorates, including Hodeidah and its liberated areas, in order to preserve the lives of children. This campaign, which was launched to vaccinate children from house to house over a period of 2 days, aims at targeting 40,000 children in the liberated districts of Hodeidah to eradicate polio and to alleviate the suffering of the displaced children and the host community from the disease.
We launched the polio vaccination campaign today, which targets children under 5. Yesterday, we finished the training course for the polio team, who will participate in the campaign in different directorates in Hodeidah. All of us have to join efforts to combat this disease.
The national campaign was carried out with the participation of 200 health visitors from the districts of Hais and Al-Khawkha. The Yemeni Ministry of Health affirmed that the immunization campaign aims to protect children from the risks of polio, and it confirmed the safety of vaccines that underwent scientific examination, which confirmed their safety and effectiveness in providing children with the necessary immunity.
This campaign targets children under 5 years of age. It will include the displaced children as well. The polio vaccination campaign is very important to limit the spread of this mutant virus. The polio vaccination team are ready to participate in the campaign. The visiting nurses have been raising awareness in different areas along with the vaccination campaign, and we hope that these efforts will succeed.
This emergency campaign comes as a result of fears of a resurrection of polio due to the war that the Houthis ignited and the difficult situation that Yemen has been living in for years.
Governor of Taiz inaugurated the national campaign for vaccination against polio. In addition, the national campaign against polio is going to continue from house to house for 3 consecutive days in 17 districts of the governorate.
اليوم برعاية وزارة الصحة والعمل السكان ممثلة بالأخ.
Today, we launched the emergency campaign for polio vaccination in Taiz. It will be a door-to-door campaign and will cover a large number of population in 17 directorates. We prepared all the vaccination teams that totaled 1,337. The polio vaccine used in this campaign is safe, and we call upon the citizens not to believe any rumors about its safety.
Patients with cancer diseases in Yemen are having difficulty in gaining services due to the war. This report has more details.
After Al Amal Center for the Treatment of Cancer Tumors in Taiz has announced the complete recovery of engineer Mohammed Al-Sharabi from nasopharyngeal cancer, Mohammed decided to start a new life with more hope by opening his own project specifying 30% of the profits for the benefit of cancer patients in order to alleviate their suffering and the burdens borne by the center.
I had to leave my job after I was diagnosed with cancer. I suffered a lot during this time. I was in so much pain, but thanks God I was able to defeat the disease and I recovered completely. I received chemotherapy and radiotherapy and now I am back to my normal life. I opened this grocery shop and I'm donating 30% of its profit to Al Amal Center for the treatment of cancer tumors in Taiz. Regarding the patient Mohammed Al-Sharabi, he was suffering from nasopharyngeal cancer at a young age, but thanks God he is recovered after being under chemotherapy and radiotherapy.
There is a huge distance between cancer and recovery, as the latest statistics show a frightening increase in the number of infected cases, which amounted to about 11,000, while the number of cases that visit the center on a daily basis reached nearly 200 cases of men, women, and children, all of whom are in urgent need of health and treatment services provided by the center.
Al Amal Center is still suffering from a huge problem. We are lacking some capabilities. We need equipments, devices and medicines to be able to accommodate the patients, whose number is increasing day by day, and provide them with a good and high quality services.
In the face of these numbers, Al Amal Center finds itself unable to achieve the goal, and the psychological aspect remains a critical role in raising recovery rates to escape the specter of cancer.
Here's a reminder of the main headlines. The United Nations accuses the Houthis of obstructing relief work in areas under their control. Yemen calls the international community to curb Houthi danger against journalists. Government forces defend Houthi attack on Ma'rib front. This is the end of the news. Thank you for watching.